bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Yeah. Well. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Thursday, November 3rd. 308 days into the new year. 59 days left, and just 5 days left to the election this Tuesday. Here's a Halloween gift for you. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? It's Thursday. Tonight is another Fader Night with Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake newsroom. It's open lines all night long. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. And so, yes, I thought, let's just do a good old-fashioned knockdown, drag-out Fader Night. Let's just go old school, man. Let's go old school. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Open lines all night long. Rappaport's going to be here in a few short minutes. It is Thursday night. It is Fader Night. All right. I'm in the chair. Got the coffee. Took my drops. I am good to go. All right? Follow me on Twitter right now, at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube, everything is Fade to Black, JChurch Radio. Just go right now, follow, like, and subscribe. You can email throughout the show tonight. I will get to as many of them as I can. That is Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. The sandbox is hashtag F2B. That's what you want to do if you want to come and hang out. It's Thursday night. I keep Twitter live to my left. This is an interactive show. All right, so you must understand how this is played. All the new listeners that are listening tonight, go and get TweetDeck. Go to Twitter and get TweetDeck. That's what you want to do. Go to Twitter and get TweetDeck. All right? Simple enough. And then when you download that, it's a Twitter product. You don't have to freak out. You don't have to trip or do anything. Download that. Get it going. And then you have columns now. Twitter is now a new world. It's a brave new world. And get your columns going. All right? And one of those columns is going to be your column. You, whoever you are. That'll be your first one, your notifications. Second column, hashtag F2B. Third column, hashtag F2BQ. After that, you can have as many columns as you want. Follow as many hashtags. But the beautiful thing is you don't have to update. You don't have to click on notifications. You don't have to do anything. TweetDeck runs automatically. And then you'll get the vibe of what this show does. All right? Now, if you don't want to tweet and you don't want to do that, I get that. Go over to one of our chat rooms. Go over to KGRA or go over to Spreaker. All right? You're not going to have that 140 character limit. Right? Okay. All right. Now, let's get the show cracking. We got a lot to cover tonight. Check out all of our sponsors, first and foremost, in order here. Well, you know, it's not in order of preference. It's just Ronnie and Life Change Tea have been with us for a long time. Life Change Tea. Just go right now. Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. It's going to take you to getthetea.com. And that's all you got to do. Go to the specials page. That's my recommendation. Go to the specials page, pick something out, and use Jimmy when you order. That's all you got to do, either over the phone or online, and you're going to get free shipping. Check out our newest sponsor, River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. It's dark, complex. It is smoky. Just go to River Moon Coffee right now. The banner is on the website, and use the promo code F2B Blend, and you're going to get 15% off of your order. And the coffee is amazing. Did you guys see that? There was a video that was posted. I watched it last night after the show. Somebody did a review of Fade to Black coffee. Yeah. One of you. You need to go check that out. Rita, post that video. Post that video. I was one of the first people to see it, so I don't even know how many have viewed it, but go check it out. There's a review for Fade to Black blend. Also, Studio Dome and their FADERNIGHT special. It is a hard shell case packed with a portable stereo Bluetooth sound system featuring the new TWS True wireless stereo Bluetooth technology. It has 2 of the new SBB2 speakers and power for just $129. That is 60% off the normal price of $399. JCRTWS is the promo code, and you're going to get free shipping. Let's get this show cracking. Let's go. Happy birthday today to Slipknot guitarist Mick Thompson. He is 43. Rise Against frontman Tim McElrath is 38. Adam Ant is 62. Do you guys remember Adam Ant? Who's old enough here? There are some here that are going, dude, I don't get it. I don't know who Adam Ant is. Adam Ant. 62 years old. Lulu today is 68. You know, the man with the golden gun. She also sang To Sir With Love. 68 years old Lulu, a golden voice. And our dead guy's birthday today is Charles Bronson. 1921 to 2003, died at the age of 81. He was Vigilante Justice in the Death Wish movies and starred in Once Upon a Time in the West, amazing, The Dirty Dozen, amazing, and The Mechanic, amongst others. His role as Danny King in the 1963 film The Great Escape made him the man forever. Happy birthday, Charles Bronson. On this day in history, yeah, it happened today. The Chicago Tribune jumps the gun and mistakenly declares New York Governor Thomas Dewey the winner of the presidential race with Harry S. Truman, with that famous front page headline, Dewey defeats Truman. Fader fact. New York nightlife. This is a fader fact. IDP says, Adam, man, I plead the fifth. Go Beckley Tepe. I'm right with you there, brother. But I'll say it out front, man. Love Adamant. Oh, Danae B. Love Adamant. Don't drink, don't smoke. Do. What do you do? Wasn't that song wasn't called Don't Drink, Don't Smoke. Wasn't that called like Goody Two Shoes? Right? I always got that confused. I always thought it was called Don't Drink, Don't Smoke. New York nightlife is a $10 billion per year industry. $10 billion. Unbelievable. But all you got to do is go around New York one time at 4 a.m. and you will see that it is indeed a $10 billion a year industry. Well, we're 5 days away from the election. 5 days away from the election. Here we go. Tonight is our last broadcast. Well, it's our last broadcast before we officially hit election week. I don't want to freak you out too bad. This Tuesday, I've got to do something here. Something is bothering me. Hold on. I'm going to try something here. See if that, it doesn't really change anything. Okay. All right. I just hear a little distortion in the background. I don't know what that is. But here we are. It's our last broadcast before we officially hit election week. And this Tuesday is November 8th. Just 5 days away. And although I don't need to remind any of you to this fact, the media, Hillary, Trump, have done a fine job doing just that. Now, I know that everyone wants to know who I'm voting for. I get that. It's not an ego thing. I get email every day. I see the post. I see the thread, whatever, right? Everybody wants to know. Well, who I support in this mess. Who is it? Well, the comments that I read, saying that Jimmy is leaning this way or that. Jimmy obviously supports blah, blah, blah because of the comments that I have on this show. But let me just say this. And it is truly what is most important here. Just listen. It ain't about me. Never has been. It's about you. And if and when you go and cast your ballot this Tuesday, listen to me. Vote with your heart. Vote with what you really feel. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to my guests. Don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to your family. Don't listen to that person that you sleep with every single night. Do your thing. That's what you got to do. At that moment, when you cast your vote, it's one of the only times in your life that you are totally private and on your own. And you know what? You get to lie before and after. And, well, you get to lie if you have to. And yes, this time around you're probably going to have to lie. And I get it. I get it. There are so many people on this planet who wish they could vote. And they can't. Think about that for a second. Voting is a very big deal. And we take it for granted. We make fun of it. We talk smack about it. Voter fraud, rigged elections, IDs, dead people, campaigns, donations, hanging chads. Whatever. It is one of the coolest things that we have in this country. And yet, we make fun of it. My vote doesn't matter. Who cares? The elections are rigged. Electoral system. DC's screwed. At least, my friends, we have those problems. There are people on this planet that want those problems. They want to be able to make fun of their voting system. Poke fun at who's running. They want those problems. They don't have them. They can't vote. totally 100% suppressed. But we can. And it is your only real chance to make a difference. Yeah, it's only one vote, and I get that. But this time around, my friends, it's different. It feels different. It looks different. And if you take a whiff, it even smells different. Hillary, Donald, and the media, they've done a grand job of absolutely dividing this country. It's amazing. But they haven't divided it not in two, but into 6 or 8. And the media version that they want you to believe is this: that the Dems divided up with Bernie, that the whole divide with the party is there, and it hasn't gone away. The Feel the Burn camp was so crazed and fired up about Hillary that they were actually talking Trump. That's the media. Or Stein, or that other guy, whatever his name is. Nothing got unified. There's a 4-way split right there, if you think about it, of people that just don't like each other. And the Republican Party, I don't need to say anything, total chaos. They have a candidate who says he couldn't give a rat's ass about the Republicans, or anybody else for that matter. Now, this is the honest-to-goodness media take on this whole thing. And it's totally nuts. I don't get it. Now, why has this been done to us? Why has this been done to you, to your friends, your family? The divide. It is so tangible, never before in the history of this country. And have we been in a situation like this? And people, old timers, will come up and go, wow, the election in 1968. No. Oh, man, you have no idea what it was like in the 50s. You know what? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk Lincoln, and I don't want to talk Reagan. I'm talking about right now. Right now. Obama, there was nothing like that in 2008. And as crazy as we would like to think it was, and it was, it's nothing like what's going on now. Who is doing this to us, and for what reasons? And it's so apparent. I'm telling you right now, this is the situation. Someone comes up to you and says, hey, who are you for, Trump? Right? Honest question. And you can't answer. You have to think first. And you're actually thinking to yourself, and I know this is exactly what's going on in your mind. Is this person for Trump, or is this person for Hillary? And I know what you're thinking. If you say Trump and they're Hillary, or if you say Hillary and they're Trump, well, the drill. You know what's going on. You can't answer, and you have to think before you do. And I'll tell you what your answer is. I'll tell you right now. Your answer is, I'm not for either. That's your answer. Or, that's private, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. That is what is going on. Nobody wants to verbally commit. Nobody wants to start a fight. Nobody wants to get a yelling match going. Nobody wants to lose friends on Facebook, Twitter followers. I get that. Co-workers, your boss. Ooh. Can't go there, can you? Because you just don't know. And the media has done and Hillary and Trump have done just an effective job of getting everybody split up and divided. And it's the exact opposite of what is supposed to be going on right now. We're supposed to be unified, have a direction, know what's going on, proud. And none of that is going on. None of it. That is how good the media has been with this. It's been executed perfectly. Perfectly. And it really makes me wonder what is really going on. Why do this? What's the game? What's the agenda? We have the legit news sources. And we have that newest craze, fake news. We have all of this stuff distributed on social media, Twitter. We have WikiLeaks jumping into play. We have the FBI jumping into the play. What is the FBI doing messing around during an election? It just doesn't make any sense. And trust me, I'm not pro-Hillary. I'm pro-honesty. This is, I am pro-American. Us. We don't need that. Let us make up our own minds. Presenting stuff that isn't right. And I'm talking about from what the things that Trump is saying and the things that Hillary is saying and the things that the media is saying and the fake news sites and Twitter and WikiLeaks and it's nuts. Now, we don't know what to believe. And we are basing on our decisions, whoever you want to, on this crap, 100% crap. Everybody's got a dog in this race. Think about it. What is the intent of feeding us into a frenzy? What are we being prepared for? It's like we're being set up. We're bowling pins in a bowling alley. We're being set up. Think about it. I don't know what the end game is. I really, really don't. But whoever makes it to the Oval Office is going to see that. They're going to see what will be left behind. And what is left behind is a bitter, divided country and a bitter, divided Washington, possibly the world. Everything seems so fractured, hurt, pissed off, and broken. And that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do with your country in an election year. Think about these words. What I have done over the last year is honest. I just said this earlier, I don't have a horse in this race. I really don't. I don't lean one way or another. I'm disappointed on both sides. It's just the way that it is. But I will sit and debate anyone on their choice. I can do it. And it's fun. Somebody tells me they're for Hillary, I'll slap her around right in front of them. Somebody mentions Trump, there you go. And for me, it's fun. And it's really, really easy to do, to wind somebody up. Because the media has done this for me. I can get someone so worked up from either side. It's sport. Now, listen, don't do what I do when somebody comes up to you and says, who are you for, Hillary? Don't do what I do. Bad mistake. You'll lose your job. But let's be really clear here, okay? I will, and I mean crystal clear, I will support whoever gets elected. That's what we do as Americans. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to run around and break things. I'm not going to get all emotional. Nah. That's not what we do. Someone wins, someone loses, and then we move on. After November 8th, We need to be united again as Americans and get behind whoever makes it to the White House. It's what we do, and it's what makes this country great. This angst, this bitterness, this pissed offness, this ugliness right now that is permeating, and I can smell the stench, has to end. Think about it. And that's why, coming up this Tuesday, you need to vote. Vote with your heart, not with what the media wants you to do. It's your very own private moment when you, and only you, get to stick it to the man. And then you get to lie about it forever and get away with it. You, my friends, are welcome. And this is Fade to Black. It is Thursday. It is Fader Night. That means open lines all night long. And the one and only Jon Rappoport with his No More Fake Newsroom. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me right now on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be back with Jon Rappoport right after this short break. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I got to tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. Doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil three-letter. So, seriously. Give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheT.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletzky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fadernauts rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake newsroom in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world as it is fed to us every single day by the Ministry of Truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash. They all go down and we see the light of day, a new day. No more robots. No more androids. It's the No More Fake newsroom with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Tonight, as promised, some comments on the upcoming election. Jimmy asked me to do this last week, and so here I am. So, I've tried to boil this down and see if there's one overriding message here, and it turns out there's about 5 or 6. But the media, major media, were just wiped out in this election season. I mean, the credibility has plummeted beyond anything that I thought was possible in this country. We have a story recently, the last few days, New York Times profit picture down 97% in this quarter. Back in April, public poll indicated that public confidence in major media was at about 6%. That gives you some idea of what we're talking about. And that was before WikiLeaks and Project Veritas really started amping up their exposure of the Hillary email case and the Clinton Foundation and the Podesta emails and so on and so forth. The media have been trying to operate this election season as if it is another election. Yes, we're in another election here, and we have debates, and we have primaries, and, you know, it's the way it works, and this is how it goes. And at every step, they have been undermined and caught with their pants down as scandal after scandal has broken. And then I would say in the last month or two, WikiLeaks and to some degree Project Veritas have actually taken over the media. Now, major media are trying to downplay that, you can be sure. They're trying to either completely ignore what WikiLeaks has been exposing or minimize it at best. But they're failing because of all the alternative news sites on the web. It's just not working. They're going down in flames. It's quite incredible. Quite incredible. Now, where did this start? Or how did the fire begin? I don't care what you think of Donald Trump. I don't care what you think of Hillary Clinton. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. But the way this new round of destruction of major media occurred was at the beginning of the Trump campaign, because he saw within about 5 minutes that if he was going to run a presidential campaign and get any traction at all, he was going to have to talk directly to media reporters about the media and say what was on his mind. And that's exactly what he did. He began to insult them. He began to say that they were corrupt. He began to say that they were biased. He began to say that they didn't know what they were talking about, etc., etc., etc. You've been there. If you've been alert, you've seen it. So whether you think he's an outright crazy, a narcissist, whatever, or you love him, regardless of that, he lit the spark, and everybody and his brother piled on the major media. Piled on. Because, let's face it, major media consider an election a media event. I've said this before. That's the way they look at this. Well, we're reporting the votes. We're declaring the winner. We're hosting the debates. We are the only people who give any exposure to the primary elections or even the election. Without us, there is nothing. That's their attitude. The entire election is a media event, and they want to control it. They want to control the whole business. Which brings me to point number 2. Beware on election night of news network projections of the winner. Beware, my friends. I explored this deeply, and I have an article up at No More Fake News about this, in 2013 with Prop 37 in California, which was a ballot initiative to make GMO labeling on foods mandatory. That was the proposition. And on election night, all of a sudden, the projection was made. Prop 37 goes down to a stinging, ringing defeat. So the next day, I decided to look into this because I knew something already about these projections. Where did they come from? Why were they made so early in the evening? And lo and behold, the first thing I discovered was that the vote count in California was far from complete. Votes were still being counted, and they would be counted all the way into December. So I looked up on the Secretary of State's website that post in every state is responsible for election results, and discovered that the states, that is the state of California, the counties of California, were not required to report their vote counts by a certain date. It was just suggested that they ought to, which I found boggling, to say the least. And it was difficult to get the actual counts from the counties, so I decided to call up registrars in counties in California. And I called up, I don't know, four or five of the big ones, and I discovered that 1.6 million votes in those 4 counties were still uncounted, and nobody knew, of course, what those people voted for. At that point, we were told that Prop 37 was losing by about 550,000 votes. But there were 1.6 million votes in just those 4 counties that remained uncounted. And there were about 50 other counties in California that I did not investigate, but I knew that they had votes that were uncounted as well. So what was going on with these early television network projections of victory and defeat? So, after combing through much evidence and mystery, it appeared to me that the Associated Press was actually the organization that was responsible for feeding data to the news networks on election night, from which the networks would make their projections. But the Associated Press is a nonprofit that is owned by the networks, by big news organizations. So that's not a recommendation for correctness or honesty. And then I recommend to you to keep the following names in mind: Edison Research, Mitofsky, and the National Election Pool, NEP. These are organizations. NEP is basically yet another organization pretty much made up of news networks. But Edison and Matovsky are contractors. They're in the private sector, and they do exit polling and so forth. And as you'll see if you read my article, one should have a healthy suspicion of what they come up with for various reasons, which I point out. For example, their wrong-headed estimates in the 2004 presidential election based on their exit polls, which turned out to be completely useless. Beware of projections, because what the networks are primed to do is to say, well, that's it, folks. We declare the winner. The next president of the United States is, boom. And that's it as far as they're concerned. They don't go back. They don't want to go back. Occasionally they have to, but it's very rare. For them, it's all over but the shouting. And they're now looking for the concession speech from the loser and the victory speech from the winner. And they bring in the talking heads and the pundits and so on and so forth. And they discuss all of this and how did you like it and what did you think and were you surprised? But it's not over. These are projections. They're estimates. They're not reality. It's all in the media bubble. So that is point number 2. Point number 3, I have to remind you, is the GEMS vote tabulating system, which I've reported on here in depth. Bev Harris, blackboxvoting.org. She is finally getting a great deal of play across the net, although major media are not picking up on this. And basically what Bev has demonstrated is that a vote tabulating system at a central location called GEMS, which accounts for 25% of the vote across America, has intentional backdoors that have been placed in it, which are there for the very purpose of stealing an election. By multiplying the number of votes for one candidate or dividing and reducing the number of votes for a candidate. And this system is in play. This election covers 25% of the vote in America and can be rigged invisibly. It's not a matter of looking precinct to precinct. This is the big enchilada where the votes all come in. It's like you're there at the checkout counter in the giant supermarket. This is where everybody goes when they check out. And she has documented in meticulous detail how this system is rigged to be rigged on vote night. So that is something huge, folks. I mean, just absolutely huge. Next point, what is going to happen after the election? Well, there's a chance of violence in the streets. I can't predict how much violence will occur depending upon who wins, but I will say that there is a very high probability that that violence is going to be bought and paid for at a high level of finance. And in my humble opinion, look for the name George Soros, an international financier. Because this election does not end with the election, to put it in a kind of cryptic way. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Things have been initiated in this country in the last 6 months that are very difficult to take back. And yes, I'm talking about the Podesta emails, and yes, I'm talking about WikiLeaks, and yes, I'm talking about the 650,000 emails found on the Anthony Weiner, Huma Abedin server, private server. Yes, I'm talking about the Hillary email scandal. Yes, I'm talking about agents inside the FBI and probably the New York Police Department who have decided that they are going to pursue this case no matter what anybody says to them, whether they're in the FBI or the Department of Justice. This is a massive shift, not only in what you might call law enforcement, but also in where the information is coming from. Because you see, in every giant bureaucracy, the strength is that it's so big. The weakness is that it's so big. Because people inside that bureaucracy can decide to go rogue because they're there. They see the secrets. They know who's holding them. They know who's covering them up. They know who's concealing them. They know what crimes are being committed. And so they can begin to decide that they want to stand up for what they believe is truth, justice, exposure, all of that. And that, I do believe, from reports that I have seen, has been happening at the FBI, where some agents and even executives were so outraged at James Comey's decision not to prosecute Hillary Clinton the first time around that they refused to talk to him, that resignation letters from agents piled up on his desk, that there was an internal revolution taking place. This is what I mean by the weakness in a giant bureaucracy. And I do not believe, regardless of the outcome of the election, that this is going to stop. And nor do I believe that it's just going to involve the Clintons. We are talking about corruption central, Washington, D.C., players on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, appointed officials, elected officials. Much exposure is there for the taking of criminal actions. And this, I do believe, is going to continue beyond the election. In other words, although it looks like I am only talking about Trump here, something has begun in the country that is much bigger than Trump and not always aligned with him. And that is a movement to expose and prosecute corruption in government. People are sick and tired of what's been happening in this country for a long, long time. And now, for a variety of reasons, they believe that the iron is hot, and this is the time to strike. Therefore, I don't think that they're going to disappear into the woodwork, regardless of the outcome. Now, major media may downplay it, but as we've seen during this election season, they are no longer in a position to stop it. And this is the incredible thing that you have to realize. You have to wake up to this. The landscape has changed. The kings of information are no longer the kings of information. And this not only pertains to the election, as I never tire of pointing out, it pertains to those stories which are near and dear to your heart, the ones that you have researched and investigated, to discover that the official reality is completely false, that there is an agenda behind that false reality. Well, where is that false reality coming from? It's coming from major media. It's coming from an extension of major media, which is academic media. The kings of media are no longer the kings. That day has passed. We are now in a different universe, and you need to get used to it and play in that field, in that universe, and participate in it, no matter what truth is the nearest and dearest to your heart. And the final point I want to make here is about bureaucracy and government. When you look at the alphabet agencies, FBI, CIA, FDA, CDC, on and on, HHS, on and on it goes. These agencies, which are organized under ultimately the president and the executive branch, the people who work there stay there. Presidents change, Congress people change, they stay. And the agendas of these agencies also remain constant, which is basically to oppress the people, as all big government does, which was foreseen by the founders when they drafted the Constitution to severely limit central government. So regardless of who comes into the White House, that person is going to be faced by the enormity of these regulatory agencies, which make up their own regulations and rules and stick to their agendas of concealment, deception, crime, oppression of the people. How is a president going to fight that? No matter who he or she or it or they or purple, green from another galaxy, I mean, I don't care. Whoever, whatever is sitting in the White House, what do you do in that kind of situation? So, as I've indicated in past articles, my revolutionary proposal is, and screw your brains in real tight on this one, if the president truly believes that he or she is at the front of a populist movement much larger than the presidency, then that president has to continue to go back to the people, often, frequent, in detail, specifically, reporting outside the media, because the media have lost. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about live streaming on the web 2 or 3 times a week. You are my people. You put me here. You want to know what I'm doing to fulfill my promises. And so I'm sitting here in the Oval Office and talking to you over the internet on a Wednesday night for 3 hours because I want you to know what I'm up against as I am trying to fulfill the destiny for which you put me here. Get it? This is the new media. Not just for you, for me, for Jimmy, for whoever, for even the President of the United States, if that person considers that they are a representative of a gigantic populist movement. Because in order to fulfill those goals of liberation, freedom from oppression by the government, that president is going to be faced with enormous resistance, for example, from all of these regulatory agencies which float through time with the same people in the same jobs for the most part. Therefore, the president is going to have to stimulate the people to keep on pressing and rising up with their voices to fulfill the destiny for which he or she was put into the White House. How do you do that? You go on the internet and live stream it and say, this week, folks, I tried to make some inroad on prosecution of banks by the Department of Justice. And I was met with a tidal wave of resistance down the street at the Department of Justice. So as I'm sitting here by the fireplace as your president, let me tell you chapter and verse, naming names, what happened to me this week as I tried to get the Department of Justice to bring prosecutions against the great banks of our nations which are robbing you blind. On Monday morning, I went over there myself, etc., etc., and I met a deputy director of the Justice Department, Joe Smith, and we sat down and we had a conversation, and this is what ensued. Chapter and verse, specifics, no more baloney generalities. That is the new populism. That is what a populist president will have to do in order to fight the good fight. There is no way around it. This is your president on Wednesday night. I'll be here tomorrow night to tell you something about the FBI, and the night after that to tell you what's happening over at the Department of Agriculture with GMO foods and pesticides that are dangerous to you and your children. 3, 4, 5 times a week. Forget press conferences. This is the new media. This is what's going to happen, or should happen, after the election. I could go on, but I'm out of time, so there's my take, Jimmy, on the election 2016.
Man, I just got a text from Rita. She goes, don't stop him. Don't stop him. John, it's... I couldn't agree with you more, and this is part of on everything. But this is part of what I had brought up in the in my little rant at the beginning of the show, which is this divide. The country's not divided in two; it's divided in 6 or 8 in violent, nasty, stinky form, and it's that whoever goes into the Oval Office has to deal with this. And it's of my wish that we all just somehow try to mend these wounds, which I just don't see it happening. They were so effective at divide and conquer this time around, right? That I just don't see it going away. You're absolutely right. These things are going to fester and get infected, and it's going to be here for a long time.
I agree.
John, don't ever change. Don't ever change. Thank you so much, John.
Don't worry about that. Okay, thank you, Jimmy.
And we'll see you next week after the election, and I can't wait what you have to say then. Jon Rappoport, everybody. Thank you so much, John. Jon Rappoport, NoMoreFakeNewsroom.com. That's the site. NoMoreFakeNews.com. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. It's FADERNIGHT. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045. And you know what we're talking about tonight. Have you been corrupted by the media? The election is on us. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kathleen, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Sobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
Angioprim can unclog blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is oral chelation. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. Just log on to angioprim.com. That's Angioprim, ANGIOPRIM, angioprim.com. Angioprim users say they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on to angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better, having fun, and doing more again. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221. Or log on for complete information. Angioprim.com. That's angioprim.com. Find out how Angioprim can work for you. Get the facts about Angioprim at angioprim.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're of the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, it is Fader Night. Open lines all night long, 323-825-5045. Certainly, we have set the tables. Now, I want to say this really quick. That, yes, this show is about conspiracies. This show is about ufology and lost history and Go Beckley Tepe. Go ahead, everybody. You earned it. Knock one back. I'll give you another one right now. Go Beckley Tepe. We need a Go Beckley Tepe candidate, right? Running the Go Beckley Tepe ticket. But we don't. But Go Beckley Tepe. And right now is one of the most important weeks of this country ever in history. And I think that there are some other driving forces that are not only trying to get one of these 2 schmoes elected, and I see that, but there's something that's going on behind the scenes. There is a prime directive here, and it freaks me out, and I'm trying to figure it out for all of us. I really am. So I want to hear from you tonight. I don't care who you're voting for. I don't care about that. But I want to hear from you. Do you think that the media has gone way above and beyond this divide and conquer? And not only with what's going on with the elections, but with this country in general. Let's not lose sight of Orlando, Baltimore, right? Let's not lose sight of St. Louis. Let's not lose sight of San Bernardino. Let's not lose sight of Houston. Let's not forget about all of that. There is a divide and conquer that's going on with our law enforcement, with guns and gun control. with racism, right? There's something going on right now. The alternative media, which is getting stronger and stronger, cannot, and callers, just stay right there on hold. I'll be with you in just a second. The alternative media is getting stronger and stronger. But with that is a double-edged sword, which is now which alternative media is speaking the truth, right? You know, somebody out there that that has a computer and a website and is, you know, and a couple of friends that are writing fake stories out there, or there's other radio host, internet radio host, not naming names, but are using the alternative media and some of the fabrication out there and conspiracy and crazy crap to also fan these flames. And so you don't know who to believe. And the mass media is starting to jump on that bandwagon. So it is so crazy, this technology lifestyle that we have, this lifestyle where we have information coming in from all directions now is overwhelming. And it's affecting our personal lives. We were talking about that last night with Holly Cook. And here we are. And now the mass media and those who are controlling the mass media, and that is the banks and corporations, realize now that they can have this influence, number one. And number two, they have a platform now, which is this election cycle, to really run amok. Now they have an excuse, right? And they are sitting back. I'm telling you, they are sitting back and watching our reactions, watching our mood swings. They're watching social media. They're watching Twitter. I did a Twitter audit on Donald Trump's Twitter account. Right? I forget the numbers. I did this a couple of weeks ago. I also did it on my own, too, as well. It was frightening to see that. But I did a Twitter audit on Trump. And I forget what he has, whatever, 12 million followers. I can actually, look this up in real time. But whatever it was, and you can do this now. You can go to Twitter audit, whatever the website is. And let me look up Donald Trump. What is it? The real Donald Trump? Donald Trump. There he is right there. The real Donald Trump. Okay, he's got 12.9 million Twitter followers. So I go and I did a Twitter audit. Dude, out of those 12.9 million followers, half are Twitter bots. Right? Those aren't 12.9 million people. Right? And I did the same thing with Hillary. Same thing. So, and out of those Twitter followers for both, but they're both guilty. And so am I, by the way. I did my own audit. I had, out of 10,000 followers, it was like 5,000 are bots, or fake accounts or whatever. I was like, oh, man. I don't know how it works. But I remember a day when I started out at 0. So however it got to this number today and stuff. But with Trump, a lot of this stuff is automated. And with Hillary, it's automated. And the media now takes advantage of this. So all of this feeds into the social media frenzy. It is Big Brother 1984 in real time. Go and watch. I'm going to tell everybody right now. Let me pull in some callers here. Hold on for a second. Let me do this first. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes.
Great show tonight. Fantastic show yesterday too, by the way. I just had two questions for you. Number one, how solid and what type of influence do you think Jerome Corsi's book has had in the past 6 months on all this, on the Clinton Foundation? And number two, what if Hillary Clinton's indicted, say, tomorrow, or let's say before Tuesday.
Right.
What happens then?
Well, first off, yeah, two great questions. And what's your name, by the way?
It's Brent.
Hey,
I'm
Brent.
in Dallas. And by the way, let's not forget about Dallas either.
Yeah, right. Let's not forget about Dallas, right? And thank you for those questions. I'm going to say this. Let's start with the Clinton Foundation book. Any foundation by any president, right? And well, any celebrity too, for that matter. But is a way to funnel money and move money around. That's what they're set up for. They're not, you can't have it, you can't go and have stuff go into your personal bank account, right? Imagine that going for you, Brent, right? That's just the way that it is. So none of it, there isn't is the Clinton Foundation corrupt? They're all corrupt. Do you, this was something that went through, I reported on this a couple of years ago, it was about a year ago. The American, I don't want to get the name wrong. I don't want to get the wrong foundation wrong here, but there was like 6 of them. It was like the American Cancer Fund, the Veterans Cancer Fund, the Breast Cancer Fund, right? They were all run by this family out of Phoenix, right? And they were, I'm talking about how can you have a Vietnam Veteran Cancer Fund and have it be corrupt, right? And they were pulling in $1 billion a year between all 5 or 6 of these funds, and like less than a percent or 0.5% of the money that was pulled in went to any type of cancer research at all. The rest of it was buying boats and trips and cars and family members being on the payroll and big money being spent out on a very lavish lifestyle. But who would suspect, right? And so anytime I see a fund, anytime, and I don't care, dogs, Humane Society, any of that, I just look at those and which fund do you think is 100% straightforward and honest? I'll give you the answer. None. Right? They're just and churches send us your money so you can be saved, right? What does a church need money for? Right? Any church, but it's all corrupt. So when you get into a situation like this, all of these different funds, and I have yet to see one that isn't corrupt and dirty, in some sense. What is it that they need to do? Well, it's about bringing money in and distributing it as they wish, and, with almost zero oversight. So is the Clinton Foundation? Yeah. So was Trump. Trump, it is completely foul, nasty, gnarly. When I hear Hillary say, "Well, we fund this research, we've done water, we do that, save all that, just save it because it's corrupt." You're trying to throw a Band-Aid on it and trying to make it look good when you know that it's not. And so we're the Bush's fund. And at one point, I believe, check this out, Brent, and I know I'm long-winded on this, and I got to get to the second part of your question. I believe at one point there was a Clinton Bush fund. Did you know that? Now,
no, and it doesn't surprise me.
Right. Now, it's just like, pump the brakes on this truck, man. What is really going on here? So, to that end, and what was the second part of your question?
Well, Jimmy, on that point, I think we all assume that they're corrupt. However, my question was about the influence of the book. I mean, I assume you've read the book.
Yes, and I saw the the documentary too, the excellent documentary, Clinton Bucks, or what was it called?
It's a hard read. I mean, it's a really hard read because it's almost like reading a college paper of some sort because it cross references. It's just a really hard read. However, I've never seen a book go so in depth on just putting it all out there.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right. And let me say this: when you have something as easy, right, to take apart as the Clinton Foundation, you're going to go deep, man. And it's easy and it's there, but you could do the same thing with so many different situations like that because it's easy, right? It's just easy to do, and you can go and connect the dots all over the world to so many different things. And I want to. I'm trying to be kind here, okay? Because I don't want to. I hate getting people upset and inflamed. You know, I just don't want to do that. But it's really, really true. You know, it's if you. Somebody out there, I said something about the Humane Society. I was with Rita helped me with the actress that runs that, or was one of the spokespeople. And so Rita and I we're dog and, we're pet owners. So we a few years ago, we go and, off of the commercial, we'll send you T-shirts, we'll send you sweatshirts, we'll send you the new Humane Society hoodie, and you're going to get the magazine every month. Just send us $19 a month, right? And we're looking at the poor dogs. So what do? We sign up. No hoodies, no T-shirts, no book, no magazines, nothing. And they took that money out of our bank account for probably 2 years. And and I'm just thinking, I just felt, how much of that money actually goes to maybe some of it, but really,
very little probably.
Yeah, and it just bums me out, man. It just bums me out. Okay, the second
part of my question was, what happens if she's indicted tomorrow? I don't know if they can do that on the weekend, but before the election on Tuesday.
Pardon?
What happens then?
Pardon?
By Obama?
Yeah, of course. Pardon? That's exactly what's going to happen. Pardon? Well, there's no way that she's not going to get pardoned. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. There's no way. And let's say if she gets elected, first off, pardon. I'm just going to tell you that right now, Obama's going to step in and pardon her. There's just no way that she's not going to get a presidential pardon. So I'm just answering. Is it a concern? Of course. And I hear you loud and clear. Could there be an indictment handed down? Okay. Possibly. And if it does happen, what goes from there? I'm telling you, if she gets elected, there's no way that a president is going to go into office with charges hanging. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be no court. There's going to be no trial. It's going to be a pardon. I'm just telling you.
Obvious answer, and I never saw it. So
yeah, it's going to be a pardon. I mean, I expect that. I expect that. It's not going to go anywhere.
Thanks for answering those.
Yeah. Thank you, Brent. And two great questions. And I hate to say it, but any foundation is set up to funnel money. It doesn't matter who it is. Brent, are you married?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so your wife sets up a foundation. It's so you two can funnel money. Okay, come on. Right? It's the way it is, man. It's the American way. Thank you for the phone call, man. Great phone call.
Yes, sir.
Be safe. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hi, this is FADERNIGHT, Paul Barbaro. Just checking in with you.
Hi, how you doing, Paul? Turn me down in the background.
Okay, yeah, I got to do that. Okay, yeah. What I was going to say is my brain is still reeling with all the brilliant things that Holly Cook said yesterday.
Yeah.
That was a really super interview, and she's really pretty, too.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. She's so smart. And it was a great show last night. And, the one thing that I tried to do last night with Holly for the FADERNIGHTs, as I do every time she's on the air, because Holly, when you are having dinner or hanging out with Holly, there's this thing that happens with her. She's so bright and bubbly and smart and happy and has always got something crazy to say, right? And I just wanted to have that conversational style happen last night with everybody so they can cop the vibe, right? And they could see what she's really about. And I had just fun. You know, Holly is Holly. She's great.
I love it. I love it. Now, on the last caller a minute ago, he was wondering about Hillary getting indicted. What all Americans are missing, and they probably don't even know about this, there's such a thing as executive immunity. And I was aware of it ever since Clinton and Bush, where they basically can commit crimes in office and they're immune from prosecution. And no one is mentioning this in the dialogue, but that's what's going on underneath. That's why the Justice Department said they can't bring down an indictment, because even if it was a crime, she's immune. And if you want to spend time in the law libraries there and or Google executive immunity, read the laws on the book. It's amazing what they can get away with in office.
Right.
And it's just how the system is set up.
Yep. And same thing with corporations, too, as well. You're absolutely right, Paul. And
So I wish more of this would come out, because people are saying, well, lock her up. Well, it doesn't have anything to do with lock her up. If she's immune from prosecution because she was holding that office, then she's immune from prosecution, and it doesn't matter how bad it got, because she's still got the immunity.
Yep, that's exactly right. But you see that pardon is already drafted and is in Obama's desk drawer. I can assure you of that. Hey, Paul, don't go changing, my brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Paul Barbaro, one of the smartest. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, who's this?
Oh, well, you don't know my voice by now.
Who is this?
Think of Christmas.
Think of Christmas.
Noel.
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing great. So, what do you think? Do you think the media has really slapped us around, and there's something going on here to manipulate the mind? Have you been manipulated?
No. There's no way I'm going to vote for Hillary. Not with this impending thing over her head. I mean, she's a crook.
Well, you know my take on that. If you're a politician, that's the end of that story.
True.
I don't know of. I would like to think that there was somebody out there that was honest and pure and not affected and so forth, and not influenced. But I just don't see it. By the time you make it to Washington D.C., you're pretty fouled up. If you make it to, the mayor of a big city, right? The mayor of a big city, you are twisted. Right? You got so many games going on you don't even remember. Right, yep. And maybe make it to a Senate or the governor. Oh, please, you know what your life is like every single day if you're in politics like that. You're trying not to get caught. That's what your life is.
Exactly.
You're trying not to get caught.
And Hillary says, well, you can't run this country like a business. Well, if you think about it, it is a business.
Well, we tried to fight that, but yeah. I mean, it I don't know how we got here, Bev. I don't know, but we did.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how she can run for president when she's under investigation.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing. Right now, I'm not sure if she is. Right? I'm not sure if she is. That's the thing.
Oh, they reopened it.
Well, no. Look, they think and please, everybody, I'm not pro-Hillary, okay? I'm pro-honesty. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, too. But listen, Bev, listen to me clearly. You only know. You're responding to what the media says. You're responding to this letter that Comey drafted. You know, you're responding to that. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows the truth. We don't. We honestly don't know what is filtered down to us by the time it gets to your ears is so twisted up and backwards. You know, you don't know. You don't know what the truth is. You know, so is she actually under investigation, right? Well, I would think this is I know what the law says, or there's some kind of rule in the FBI, which I think is funky, but that 60 days outside of the election, you can't talk about anything that's going on, right? And you have to wait till the election plays out. Well, if that's the case, what is Comey doing even talking about this? And I would think, and this is the one thing that I'm disturbed about when it comes to the FBI right now. The FBI used to be spooky and mysterious, right? You just didn't know. And then when they snuck up on you and dropped you with an indictment, that's because the investigation went full route. They've got all the evidence, and that's when they surfaced. You know, not this thing that's going on now, that it's just nothing but rumors and craziness and announcements and this and that and WikiLeaks and it's just like, wait a minute, what happened to the spooky FBI? What happened to that? You know, not this transparency FBI sending a letter to Congress. What are you doing that? That's not what I enjoyed about the FBI. The FBI, when they came up on you, they had you. Right? They had you. They've done their investigation. Oh, what? You've been checking me out for a year? Right? But so I don't know.
You know, and maybe this is what this country needs, is a businessman. I mean, he's been bankrupt so many times and has come back.
Yeah, well,
so he knows how to run a business,
and that's that's the beauty of this country, is that we can all go and make our choices and make up our own mind and go and vote, you know, and that, for you to say that out loud, I think is great. I really, 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 really do, because you have an opinion, you know, and that's it. I like I said at the beginning of the show, and I mean this, whatever happens, happens. I will support whatever happens. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Let's get this crap behind us so we can move on and be proud Americans again, and just and deal with, you know, because the American people are going to speak. That's it. Let's just go get this done. Hanging Chads be damned. And that's my take. Hey, Beverly, I got to head to a commercial. Thank you for the phone call, as always.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, and love you, brother.
Yeah, love you right back. You are the best. This is Fade to Black. It is Fader Night. 323-825-5045. Open lines all night long. Do you think the media, the conspiracy, the corruption, the nastiness, it just has messed us up? We don't even know if we're walking frontwards or backwards. And I'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It's Fader night. The studio is dark in a bunker somewhere in Burbank, California. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. Open lines 323-825-5045. If you're on hold, stay right there. And now, I gotta share this with you. It's a pretty crazy story, really quick. And just stay right there, callers. I'll be right there. The Canadian Armed Forces have sent a crew to investigate reports of a mysterious pinging sound that seems to be coming from the sea floor. Hunters in a remote community in the Canadian Arctic have become concerned about a pinging or beeping sound they say they've been hearing in the Fury and Hekla Strait, a channel of water that's 120 kilometers northeast of the Inuit hamlet Igloolik. The sound seems to be coming from the seafloor, and it is scaring animals away from a popular hunting area of open water surrounded by ice that is usually abundant with sea animals. Several reports were passed to the military, which sent a CP-140 Aurora patrol aircraft in to investigate yesterday under the mandate of Operation Limpid, a domestic surveillance program designed to detect, deter, prevent, preempt, and defeat threats aimed at Canada or Canadian interests. Crazy. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Tammy. Mark's on her normal phone, so I had to use the cell.
Oh, what's up, Tammy?
First of all, well, a couple of things. I owe you an apology.
For what?
When you started the show tonight,
Uh-huh.
I thought you were going to tell people who you were voting for and use the show as a plug. I really did, and I'm sorry for that.
I would
should have
never do
thought
that.
Who you were.
I would never
Not-
do that.
I know, and that's what, at first, I got mad, and I'm like, this is not Jimmy. What is going on? You know, and then you didn't. I went, oh, God, I owe him an apology. But here's the other thing. How long did the FBI have those computers? 2 years?
Well,
2 years.
Well, Tammy, possibly. But look, listen to me, Tammy. Unless you are in the FBI building, in the J. Edgar Hoover building right now in Washington, D.C., and you've got a badge and you are checking into work every single day and you are part of this investigation, you don't know nothing. Neither do I.
Right.
Right?
But what
So
I'm
that's
saying
the truth. That is the truth. This is nothing but leaks and backstabbing that's going on in the FBI, and even those stories about the leaks and the problems and the backstabbing and the arguing and everything. All of that is innuendo. It's just all crap, man. And
exactly. That's where I'm going. It's like WikiLeaks says, oh, we got all these emails we're going to send in if the FBI doesn't do this, and all of a sudden the FBI, who's been protecting the Clintons for how long,
look, I'm going to say
all this information with the knowledge that if they do put anything on her, she's going to be immune. They know this. You know this. Your audience knows this.
It's possible, but I'll say,
it's like watching a C-rated movie.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this publicly right now. The FBI and their suits and their demeanor and who they hire, I'm going to tell you right now, the FBI is Republican. Okay? It is a Republican three-letter organization. And
Jimmy,
hold on. There may be some Democrats there, but if you're an FBI agent, if you are you're a Republican, and so this thing that has been going on there for so long, it seems to me, this is how I feel. I feel that they've been trying their best to just get hit, and they can't. Right? They just can't put it together. And whether she's devious enough to dance around this and delete her emails and lie and what whatever. But for some reason, if the FBI, Tammy, if the FBI is coming after somebody and there is something to get, they're gonna get you. You're not gonna escape that. You can't. Right, and so that's why I'm perplexed. And the other thing that I'm perplexed about as an American, okay, and I'll say this too. I've said this before on this program. When I was 18 and I was now old enough to vote, and I didn't know if I was a Democrat or a Republican, I didn't know what they were. The only thing I was concerned about every morning was how to clean my bong. Okay, that was my concern in life, and I didn't know what was going on. But Reagan was in office, and Reagan was a dude that I really dug. I thought he was a cool guy, and I just became a Republican. I did, and only because I didn't know how to make those choices. I didn't know about what a liberal was. I didn't know right from left. I didn't know, right? And I was 18, man. It was the 80s. What do you want from me? So I became a Republican. So when I talk today about the Republicans or the Democrats, it comes from a mindset of the Republican Party, especially in the last 20 years, has really freaked me out. It's freaked me out. It's completely just like it's a trippy thing. And then, but I look at the liberal side and I look at the Democratic side, and I don't get that either. So I'm like this guy that is lost. I'm lost. I don't. It seems like we need to start over. We need to start over. We not an independent party. We need something completely fresh with a completely cool mindset of values, and that's where I'm at. So when I say these things like I do, that's where it comes from. It comes from being pissed off. And
here's what I think, Bud. Okay, there is no party. It's a group of people that are getting together. I mean, they say, "Oh, we got two parties." That's how they start dividing us. Oh, I have to be a Democrat because they believe in this. I have to be a Republican because we believe in this.
Sure.
Or I have to be a whatever. That's how they start dividing us.
That's
on.
The
government.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. And also, everybody wants to be part of something, right? You want to be a part. You want to be in a group. You want to be accepted.
Right.
You want to have friends.
And everybody wants to be on the winning team. The problem is, it doesn't matter who we vote for. It's still one team.
Well,
and they're still going to screw over the people. And it's the people that have the power. And the more they keep us divided, the more the people lose the power.
Well, and this is the other part for me that I think is the most serious situation here. The difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is becoming clouded. And if you look at Hillary, and Dolan says it best, man, she's a card-carrying neocon. And she is a Republican wearing a blue suit. I really firmly believe that. And it's not anymore about red and blue in Washington. It's about the lobbyists and the corporate dollars and the banking system behind it that is running all of the corruption. And that is the conspiracy. And that is what they need. They've been fighting to keep hidden from all of us. We don't get that. And as long as they can keep us not only divided, but entertained and out of focus about the reality of what is going on there, I am telling you right now, and I mean this, whoever gets elected in any election year, goes into that Oval Office and that friggin' phone rings, man. And they sit down and they pick up the phone and they find out who the real boss is. And that boss ain't them. It's not.
They become the parrot in the cage.
I'm telling you, that is the reality of the situation. You know,
here's the other part, okay?
Quickly, Tammy. I've got a ton of calls.
The elector vote.
Yes.
Wipe us all out.
Well, yeah. You know, I don't know why we don't have a one person, one vote system. You know, I talked to somebody about that the other day, and I want to thank you for the phone call, Tammy. I talked to somebody about that the other day. It was a way to make the smaller states equal. You know what? I call BS on that now. I just call complete BS. One person, one vote. Doesn't matter. Every vote counts. End of the electoral system. Dividing lines and this and that and districts. I mean, you know, screw that. Screw that. One person, one vote. That's it. One person, one vote. End of story. So there you go.
I'm with you. Let's go for it.
Thank you, Tammy. All the best.
All right. Love you, brother.
Love you back. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Jimmy, my brother, this is Brian from Oklahoma. How you doing?
How you doing, Brian from Oklahoma, my brother?
I am doing good. After probably what was the worst October in my life, I'm doing a lot better.
What happened?
That's well, that's kind of what I called about, man. I wanted to tell people. I had never had depression before. I went through what they called a moderate to mild set of depression.
Right.
As an old school Marine, let me tell you, if you think you are depressed, go get some help. Don't do what I did, man. Don't think you can just man up and push through it. Yeah, that don't work.
Man. No, man. No. So you're better now.
Yeah, better now. And I had this. The reason I called is the show last night with Holly.
Yep.
That was that was perfect. That was my first night back, really.
Right.
And that was like a glass of cool water right there.
She is a glass of cool water. No doubt about it.
Oh, man, that was an awesome show.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I mean, Holly, I'm sure she's listening right now, and she appreciates that. You should reach out to her, man. You should.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about hooking up and seeing what I can do.
Yeah, you should do that, Brian. I'm serious, man. She's cool. She's cool. She as cool as you think she is, right? She's cooler than that. Whatever level of cool you're thinking of,
that's pretty good.
She's a notch above it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will definitely get hold of her and see what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. And behave and be well.
Yeah. Hey, and I got one other thing to say, because I'm at work and I can't do it. Go Beckley Teppy, go Beckley Teppy, go Beckley Teppy.
Thank you so much, Brian. I'll add one more. Go Beckley Teppy.
All right. How are you doing, man?
All right, man. Go back to work. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
What's up, Mr. Jimmy?
I know. I didn't want to say it in advance. I just wanted to hear you say, "What's up? What's up? What's up?"
I'm in beautiful Denver, Colorado this evening, Jimmy.
You're in Denver? What are you doing in Denver?
I'm in Denver. I come out to see my son and his family for the weekend. Me and my wife and daughter, we flew out this morning and landed in Chicago this morning for a layover, and it was wild in the airport. They were going crazy over the Cubbies.
Oh, dude. I didn't even think about that.
Every vendor in thinking the airport had some sort of Cubs gear or something for sale.
Did you buy something?
In the airport.
Did you buy something?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, though. So now you flew into DIA, Denver International. Did you feel the vibe? Did you know you were walking over a city? Could you feel it?
City, walking over a city. Well, see, Jimmy, me and my wife flew out here. We flew to Hawaii. They hadn't finished the Denver airport maybe like 6 months, and we had flew to Hawaii and we had a layover in Denver. And that was when they still had those few paintings up, the one Nazi painting.
Yeah.
That they ended up taking down, and I've got a picture of myself beside that painting because I couldn't believe that they had that painting hanging up.
Right.
Anyway, it was crazy, racist, and very violent picture. Anyway, to have that skeleton dressed up in a Nazi uniform and then stepping on
with an AK-47, it's like the most bizarre. Hey, Steve, do you have me on speaker?
No, sure. I'm just in the bathroom to where.
Oh, that's what it. You're in some massive marble bathroom, and you don't want to wake up the family, so you snuck in there to call into the show.
Oh, absolutely. They're in there making a bunch of racket. I wouldn't want to hear them.
Right. So, Steve, what do you think, man? What do you think?
Well,
are we being? Have you been influenced by this corrupt media machine, this conspiracy to mess with our minds?
Well, I think the system is totally flawed to begin with. But the crazy thing about it, Jimmy, I've had 2 cab drivers say to me today, both of them, out of the blue, and I don't know what I have with these cab drivers. I have some kind of kindred spiritual awakening with cab drivers for some reason.
Right.
His cab driver's like, well, what do you think about the election? And this guy was like, he said he was from L.A. and that he had moved out to Denver 25 years ago, but he straight up called Hillary a thief. And because he was like, who is the most popular from Virginia right now? And because Hillary's running mate used to be the governor of Virginia,
right?
But Virginia is still pro-Trump, and in the part of Virginia, and especially West Virginia, is pro-Trump. I mean, you won't find nothing for Hillary where I live at. Because of, the jobs, the coal jobs that's been lost. It's devastated our communities. But things, things we hear over the last 6 months have started to make a decent turnaround. It's come back a little bit. The Chinese market has helped quite a bit when it comes to what they call met coal or metallurgical coal, which is used to make steel. The Chinese government has stopped production of met coal in their own country, which has helped the U.S. market drastically, and has put a lot of people back to work in the met-producing coal mines, which the state of West Virginia and Kentucky has a lot of.
Right. And what do you think, back to my original question, though, what do you think? Do you think you've been influenced by this media conspiracy?
I haven't, Jimmy. I mean, I don't think that the majority of the listeners to this show are going to be influenced to the mass media. But because, I think we're more open-minded and more attuned to what's going on, to the crap they're trying to feed us. But the average Joe, Jimmy, absolutely, I think they're influenced. I mean, when you turn it on CNN, I've told countless people this, they ought to change the name to CNN to the Clinton National News Network. I mean, That's all it is.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's the same thing with Fox. I mean, those two.
Fox, I agree.
Yeah, they've decided to have these stands. I get it. So you have the liberal station, you have the right and you have the left, and what's weird is CNN's logo is red. It should be blue, and Fox logo is blue, and it should be red. So we would be less confused. It's
and they
it's
put
really
these
fun.
people on, Jimmy. They're supposed to be, non-biased, professional people speaking. Well, I haven't heard anyone on any one of those channels speak that's not biased toward one candidate or the other.
Right. And and that's, in a weird way, that's okay. I mean, just as long as you know where somebody stands and they're going to be there. But you know what really irritates me, and it happens on every level, every question, every minute of every day on every network, is nobody will answer the question that was asked. Right? They won't. So what do you think about Donald Trump and coconut pie? Well, you know what? I want to address the issues of chocolate ice cream. Well, yeah, but does he like coconut pie? It's chocolate ice cream that we need to talk about right now. And it's just like, wait a minute. The question is coconut pie. Let's address the coconut pie, and they can't. And they won't. And it's just I'm done with it, man. I can't even. All of the debates were the same thing. All of the moderators tried to. It seemed like they tried to get back to the question, and it was never. I don't think it was ever addressed ever. And then you have Donna Brazile gets busted, and she leaves the network, and it's just like, man, it is crazy. The collusion and corruption that is going on right now, and most of it, they don't care. They honestly don't care. If you are pro Hillary, you don't care about Vincent Foster, right? It's like that all of those bodies that are behind her, all those dead people, man, stacked up to her neck. Don't care, right? They don't want to talk about it. They don't care. They don't care about her past and her history. And when it comes to Donald Trump and all of his, so what? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Who cares? Somebody that is out there that makes $50,000 a year, and they're paying 30% in taxes, right? And the IRS comes and takes that, right? Takes it from you. But Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes, and that person who should care about it goes, he's a good businessman. Who cares? Dude, it's just like crazy to me. It's like crazy alternative universe, crazy timeline stuff that if you are for one of these candidates, you don't care about the bad stuff. You choose to ignore it, and your head is in the sand. And that is it's. I step back and I listen to everybody talk about both sides, and it's just fascinating to me. They just don't care. Don't care. No.
I just can't wait for it to be over. I just want it to be over with. Let's pick one, because neither one of them's going to do what the hell they said they're going to do.
No, it never happens. It's never happened once.
It never happened.
No, it's never happened once.
First of all, they're not going to build no damn wall. There's no way in Jesus' name they're going to build a wall. Okay? And then Hillary's not going to do the things that she says she's going to do.
No.
It's just we're faced with two bad candidates. It's basically the lesser of two evils is the way I'm looking at it.
I
don't know. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Frustrating as hell that we've come that far as a country, and we're faced with that.
What do you
Especially
think?
in as hard of times as we're in as a country, and where we need to go to as a country.
What do you think about all of the anger that has been built up now, right? It's there. I mean, it is.
Well, there'll be an outlet for that anger somewhere, Jimmy, regardless, who wins. There will be, some sort of retaliation from one side or the other, and it'll probably be the losing side that will retaliate in some form of fashion, one way or the other.
I'll give you another example of the media corruption and collusion with the whole feel the burn, right? Feel the burn. And these crazy rallies that Bernie was running, and the angst and the youth, and man, let's burn this sucker down, right? And Bernie doesn't make it. But the media had you believing that it was going to be Chicago in 1968 at the Democratic Convention. There were going to be riots, and it was going to be crazy, and it was going to be this and that. And as soon as Hillary made it, I feel like the media has let the Bernie thing go, right? And why did they do that? Why did they, why if all, what I'm trying to say is, if all of that was real, right? Because that's what they wanted us to freak out on. If all of it was real, where did it go? Where did all of those Bernie supporters go? Where did the angst go? Where did that whole platform that Bernie had, and the fight and the thing, and Bernie was so close to overtaking Hillary, and it was right there. All of those supporters, all of those votes, everything, that whole platform, where did it go? Did it just disappear? Or is it,
And then Obama has to step in and then invite Bernie to the White House, and they have a nice little lunch together, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, Bernie's out of the picture.
Right.
How corrupt is that? I mean, what was said at that lunch. I mean, everyone has to know what was said at that lunch. How corrupt is that?
I know.
How corrupt is it that Obama gets to fly around on our tax dollars and raise money for the Democratic Party and support Hillary?
Right.
How much more screwed up is that?
Yep.
Look, so we're paying millions of dollars for him to fly around and raise money for the Democratic Party.
I trip on that every time. And look, it's just not a plane. It's it's the 2 or 3 other Air Force C-5A Galaxies that have the limos and the motorcade that flies in advance, and the Secret Service that is involved, and everything else. When Obama lands in that plane, there's 2, 3, 4 other planes that land with him. It is a huge expense. It's logistics beyond logistics.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Every time that plane gets
airborne,
they light it up.
Yep. I trip on that all the time. I really do. And I'm not, it's not fair to just point it at Obama. It's every sitting president that's there does it. And I'm sure that they've got certain funds and certain things that pay for it. Maybe it's coming out of the Democratic Party. Maybe they are picking up the tab. Maybe they get a bill for it.
I doubt that very seriously.
I don't know. But man, it would, it seems like if that was indeed the case, that we should be up in arms about it. So, have you been watching? I've got to let you go because I've got to hit a break here, Steve. But
we can't do another long hour and a half like that.
No, we can't. We can't do it tonight. But you need to watch that series, Black Mirror. Check that out. Check out Black Mirror. Yeah. Check out Black Mirror. That's all you got to do, and start with season 1. There are only 3 episodes per season, but just check it out.
Check it out. Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to you. Thank you so much, Steve.
Hey, Jimmy, as always, brother, thanks for the time.
You are the best. Bunk Steve from Bluefield. That's what I'm talking about. This is Fade to Black. 323-825-5045. Open lines. I'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If your home has hard water, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes, damaging your appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars each year. You can eliminate limescale in the entire house with HydroCare products available at Wave Home Solutions. Easy and efficient with no maintenance, no salts, no chemicals, and no coils. And you can buy with confidence from Wave Home Solutions. Performance guaranteed. Just go to bestwater411.com. That's bestwater411.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Three 323-825-5045. Open lines. It is FADERNIGHT. It is Thursday night. This is our last show before next week. It's our last show because next week, Monday's going to kick in, and then the next thing you know, it is a new beginning. Next Tuesday is a big day, and I said it earlier tonight, and I mean it. Everybody go out and vote with your heart. As crazy as that sounds, don't listen to the media. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to my guests. Don't listen to people posting. Don't read tweets. Don't read Twitter. Don't do anything. Vote with your heart. Flip a coin. Go in and vote with your heart. Because that's what this country is about. We have the ability to do this. There are too many people in this world that don't have any idea what a voting booth is. And you need to really stop and think about that. It's very, very important. And it also is the way that the situation is played out for all of us, the angst, the divide, is that's a private moment for you to go in and stick it to the man. And you are able to lie. You can lie. Whatever it is, your wife, your husband, you can turn to them and go, yep. Whoever. Your wife wants Trump, you can say, I'm voting Trump. And you step into that booth and you vote Hillary. Your wife is for Hillary, and you don't want the problems at home, you say, honey, I'm voting for Hillary. And you step into that booth and you vote Trump. And you step out and she's looking at you, he's looking, yeah, see, honey, I voted Hillary. You can do it. You can lie. But just go and vote. And you're not going to get in trouble for telling that lie because nobody knows but you. You can tell the truth if you want. Hey, right? But that's it. And go and do it. Vote with your heart and get this done. This is truly the most important time ever. I can feel it. You know it. You know, and I don't know ultimately what's going to happen on Tuesday. What I do know is that there is a machine in place that has been running effective plays for the last year to screw up your mind. That's it. It's in play, and it has been in play. And I've said it from the very get-go. There's something going on. I don't know what it is. People, I don't know why. I don't know what the end game is here. I do know what drives all of this, and that is the conspiracy of the cabal and the shadow government and the banks and everything that is pushing us around and pushing Washington around. That's where the decisions are made, and that's who owns the media. And the media has chosen to affect us like never before. So here we are. So what's going to happen on Tuesday? I don't know. Next week, we are going to have full election coverage. We're going to have a bunch of really great guests in here to take us through this. We've got a really good pre-show lined up on Monday, a couple of surprises. I don't know if Rita's ready to announce that yet. Are we going to do that tomorrow, Rita? You know what? I'm just going to call Rita out right now. I'm going to let everybody know. She has not texted me once during the show tonight. Either she's having a great time and it's all good, or she's mad. I don't know what it is, but I haven't gotten a text. So, Rita, are we ready to make this announcement about next week's guests? Okay. Well, I still have no response. Huh. Okay. All right, there you go. Next, I wanted to talk about really quick. 323-825-5045. If you're on hold, stay right there. 323-825-5045. I want to get a couple of thoughts out. I keep talking about this new show. Well, it's not a new show. It's been around for a while, but it's new on Netflix. It's called Black Mirror. Now, and I see the Vote Waldo, passing by. That's one of the episodes. Now, but the reason why I want all of you to go check out Black Mirror is that it is ultimately the flavor, the thing that is going on with Black Mirror is technology. And so that's it. That's it over the top. But it is a supremely cleverly written series. So clever. Somebody here is just way beyond smart. I mean, just way beyond that. Now, but it's how technology is in our lives. It takes place in sort of the now, maybe a little bit in the future. And when I'm talking about I'm talking about a couple of years. They never really come to grips with that. So you don't have to think that this is some dystopian thing that is way out there, right? 20 years from now, 30 years from now. It's in the now. But the technology that is here in the show is science fiction that is mixed in with total reality. And so the graphics and the CGI with the technology, with cell phones, with computers and the way that they present it, okay, it's a little far into the future, but it is exactly where we are now, and the issues that we need to deal with today about how technology is inside of our lives. It's each episode is individual. These are individual stories. There are no continuous characters that go from one episode to the next. No. So you don't have a continuing storyline. I have, as of yet, with all of the episodes that I have seen through, I'm now on the third season. No characters have been repeated. Okay, so I find that great. So you can watch these as individual standalone movies. Okay, now the way that each episode is done, it's about a lifestyle. There's a lifestyle that's going on. There's something going on with somebody's life in an individual sense, whether it is a relationship, whether it is a job, maybe it's yourself, but it's all technology wrapped into that. Now, sounds a little boring. The way that this is written is so amazingly complex and deep and heavy and funny and depressing and scary and terrifying. It's incredible. Black Mirror. And all of the things that I talk about on this show, whether it is Big Brother watching you, whether it is Facebook and social media and privacy rights, smart television, smart TVs, smartphones, profiles, the ability to watch or see or tape or review or have access to somebody else's life, or the man having access to you and your job and your children. All of that is involved here. And the way that they handle it, and I get to the end of every episode and I see who's directing it and I want to see who's written it, because it is way beyond clever. Scary, yes. But it's a challenge to present something like this. It is British. There's that part of it too, but and the way that the British look at lives in society. So you have that part, but incredible, it's just incredible. So please go and watch Black Mirror, and don't get too depressed. And at the end, I'm going to say this before I move on. At the end of every episode, I can promise you this: wherever you think it is going, where you think you've got it all figured out and you know what's going on, every ending is a shocker. It's got a trippy ending. There's a specific episode about a woman that loses her mind. She can't remember who she is, and it starts off, she's walking, she doesn't know anything around her. So you think you've got this figured out, and then it gets to the end, which you think is the end. Watch this episode specifically, and you think it's ended, and you think that is clever and twisted. And just as you think that is where it's at, then there's a series of clips that roll off into the credits that also explain the series, which had the show, which had nothing to do with the ending that you just saw a minute ago. Incredible, just incredible. Black Mirror, go and check it out. Somebody post it up there and get links up, but I think you can definitely just find it on Netflix, current release. All right, let's see here. Where am I? I wanted to. There was something else I wanted to mention. It wasn't Black Mirror. There was something else. It'll come back to me. The North Dakota state capitol is reportedly under lockdown tonight. They're under a lockdown order while more than a dozen people were arrested for protesting against the Dakota Access Pipeline. And according to witness accounts that were shared on Twitter today, dozens of people gathered on a lawn outside the state capitol building in solidarity with the protesters against the $3.8 billion pipeline, which is being constructed by the Energy Transfer Partners. On November 1st, a couple of days ago, suspected protesters against the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline struck the North Dakota state capitol in Bismarck, dumping oil on doors, walls, and sidewalks. My comment, this is what I have been finding strange about all of this pipeline stuff, and I have been short on reporting on this or commenting on this and trying to hold back a little bit till I understood a bit more about what's going on up there. The media, for some reason, and again, this is a pipeline, this is oil, there are things that are going on that influence the media. That's it. And they have chosen the media, not to cover this. Zero. There is zero information out there. You go to any, I don't watch the news anymore on television, as you know. I've decided to cut that stuff out of my life. I'm a better person for it. But the media in general is not talking about the pipeline. They're not talking about the protests. And because of that, the alternative media out there and the way that they're covering it is also slanted on the other side too. And I don't know why this is going on both sides. But there's definitely a big amount of money that is involved here. A $3.8 billion pipeline and its construction and the protests behind it says big oil, big money. I get that. I totally get it. And there is zero media coverage. Zero. The feds don't want it covered. North Dakota doesn't want it covered. Most certainly, Energy Transfer Partners doesn't want it covered. And who is behind that and the money behind that? And is it directly tied to some of these media conglomerates? Probably. But it is very interesting how we have a situation like this that is going on in real time. It's been going on for a while and is not covered in the media. And that is part of my problem. I cannot get access to accurate information. I can't. I reported on this today because of the witnesses that had posted on Twitter, and I looked at some of the photographs, and I also caught a couple of videos that were shot on the scene today. A very interesting situation, and I need more information. So I'm asking your help now. I want to cover this. I want to know exactly what is going on. I do. So if you know somebody up there, if you have direct access to media coverage that is honest and is straightforward, I need something that is honest, then please let me know, because the alternative media is so far out there that I don't even think that it is close to the truth. And, of course, there's nothing in the mainstream media commenting on this at all, so I don't know. So please hit me with that. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com, and I need your help. All right? Okay. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. Was People of Earth. People of Earth. Have you guys seen this? Somebody call me on this. I will put you at the front of the line. People of Earth. 323-825-5045. Who has watched People of Earth? Oh, Rita just said, aren't next week's announcements just the best? I'm just trying to get a message across. Maybe I missed it. Did you announce everything in Twitter already? Okay, I don't know. All right. This better be a People of Earth call right here. People of Earth. You're live right now.
Jimmy, your thing on the reservation and the pipeline.
Uh-huh.
They're wanting to go on ground that's owned by the Native Americans, encroach on their ground, which it's a reservation. They don't have the right to be there.
Right.
That's why they're protesting it.
Right.
There's your answer.
Well, okay. It may be as simple as that, but what I'm referring to a bit more in all of this is the way that the feds are dealing with the protesters. You're not hearing about that. The people that are getting arrested. I know that somebody died. None of this stuff has gone into the mainstream news, and they've refrained from covering it. That's what I mean. I understand about the Indian land part. I totally get that. but it's the collusion and the I hate to say the word, but the conspiracy about what's going on behind that. That's what I'm most interested in, and I'm just trying to get honest coverage on that. But yeah, absolutely, and thank you for that update. And send me links in Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com if you've got anything that you need me to read.
Thank you.
All righty.
Back to listen.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Jimmy, Casper Fox.
Hey, Casper.
I saw People of Earth.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is, the guy that listens to the show, they got to be.
Yeah, right. Did you? I don't want to toot my own horn, and maybe it's just that we talk about this kind of stuff so much that it is what it is. But it certainly feels like when you watch that I was a consultant, right? Or they listen to this show every single day.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the reptilians, they got the hybrid tall whites, they've got the short grays, and I'm sure we're going to see some other surprises coming up.
There was
not to forget the talking deer head.
Right.
I thought it was funny.
It is hilarious, and I forget what's his name. The guy with the glasses. He's sitting there and he goes, Lincoln was a reptilian." And the guy goes, "What, Lincoln?" He goes, "Lincoln was the most reptilian of all presidents." Right? It's just like, man. It was just. Now, I haven't seen episode 2. I know it was a 2-parter. I watched episode 1 after the show tonight. As soon as we get back to the house, we're going to watch episode 2.
I didn't see episode 2 either. I didn't realize it was a 2-parter.
Yeah, it was a 2-parter that night. Well, what TBS did is they released episode 1 on YouTube a week early. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, my God, So we watched it in bed, Rita and I. We watched episode 1, and we just haven't been able to sit down in front of a TV and go to TBS and watch episode 2, but we'll do it tonight.
Yeah, I think it's worth watching. I mean, in the, this community that we have of UFO conspiracy and so on, you got to have some humor, and that show definitely nails it. I mean, I think it does an excellent job. It was a lot of fun watching it.
A lot of research. There's the writers that are involved here have a couple of us on the inside. They have a consultant that is dealing with this. When I forget her name, the actress, but when she goes, "We are not abductees, we are experiencers." Right?
I caught that too. I caught that, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's crazy," because that's what people do now. They're moving away from using. It's like going from UFO to UAP now,
right?
And now it's going from abductees to experiencers. And they are right on top of all the current jargon that's out there.
And the attitude between the Nordics and the reptilians and the Greys and what is going on there, it is so funny and so cool. But the part that I'm really enjoying with this, it's not us in our community, we can go and watch this and make fun of ourselves, right? Okay, great. But it's the other people out there that have no clue about any of this, right? And the terminology and the word and what's going on. And it's that exposure that, it may be funny, it may be a comedy, but it's also getting it out there into the mainstream. And that's what I love. So, 6 months from now, somebody out there that has never heard of abductions or the Greys or the reptilians or the tall Nordics or experiencers, they're going to know now, right? And if they hear it come up in a conversation, they're actually going to have a point of reference to go back to. And I'm totally happy. I think People of Earth is great, and it's really some genius writing. Conan O'Brien. It's his company. He's the one that is producing this. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know O'Brien was producing this.
Oh yeah, Kanoko. That's his company.
Surprised me.
Yeah, not the oil company. Not the oil company, Kanoko, but I think that's what his company is called. It's something like that. But, yeah, it's Conan O'Brien. I saw an interview with Conan about this and how he got the script and how he decided to have this whole thing move forward. It's his production. You know, he's on TBS, right? So there you go. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Well, listen, I just wanted to call in and give you a Peoples of Earth update, and that I enjoyed it, and I think it's well worth watching, you know, in my opinion. So, well, before I let you go, we got a couple of minutes before we go into this break. So what do you think? Have you been influenced by this corrupted media through this election cycle? The subliminal headaches I've been getting, you know, the subliminal messages. For me, because I've been, you know, outside the box for so long, you know, decades, that it's like interesting that you don't hear either political candidate talking about the Standing Rock issue with the water. And a lot of it goes back to the Treaty of 1851 at Fort Laramie. Then you had a gold rush come in, and then that got all goofed up. Then you had another treaty, like 1860, 1861, then another treaty in 1868. And but they keep going back to the Laramie Treaty of 1851, which granted, from my understanding, granted permission for the government to put roadways in for settlers going out to Oregon, Washington, and California. But they weren't allowed to put any other infrastructures in. And this pipeline violates that treaty, even though the land has gone private in some sectors because of the gold rush. It's like, for example, if you buy 300 acres in Montana, you might buy the land. However, the individual buying that you're buying the land from might say, I'm keeping mineral and timber rights. Right. So if they suddenly discover, you know, oil or gas on the property, you ain't getting nothing if you bought it, and you can't stop it from going in and drilling because you didn't buy the mineral rights. And I'm not sure if that's the correct angle to look at the Treaty of 1851 or not, because I'm not a legal expert in that field. But that's why I put the map up on Twitter of a map expert did this a couple of days ago and threw it up there, and I've had the impression I wanted everyone to share it. But it shows the original pipeline and the dotted thing going up over a river, but Bismarck and the other cities didn't want it because they were concerned about. Oh, Casper, you dropped out. All right, there you go. You know what? We were running up against a break anyway. Casper, it wasn't me. I can promise you that. This is Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It is Fader Night. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. People of Earth. Did you see it? People of Earth. And I'm serious. This is our last show before the election. I want everybody to vote with your heart. But do you think that you have been influenced by this corrupt media and the decision that you're going to make this Tuesday? I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized LIIVE Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the LIIVE unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell
smell is gone.
WAVE units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance WAVE unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com. mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. 323-825-5045. Simple enough. 323-825-5045. You're on hold. Stay right there. I just got, thank you, Renee. She just sent me an article. Let's see here. From the Green Valley News. And let's see here. This November 2nd. Okay. So, let's see. On Thursday, I guess that would be last week. This is November 2nd, and today is Thursday. Well, okay, maybe today. I hate it when news releases don't state if it was today. But anyway, it says on Thursday, I'm assuming today, 300 clergy from across the nation will join the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in Cannonball, North Dakota, to protest the construction of the 1,170-mile pipeline between the oil fields of western North Dakota and Illinois. The Reverend Matthew Funk Crary of the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Amato will be among them. Native Americans say that the crude oil pipeline will endanger the region's water supply and harm sacred lands. Yes, and tribal burial grounds. Energy Transfer Partners, the pipeline's developer, believes the Dakota Access Pipeline will be a safer way to transfer oil. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe, whose reservation lies south of the pipeline's charted path, is upset the pipeline would go near Lake Oahe, a major source of drinking water for the community. Now, the tribe has been trying to stop the pipeline when it was proposed in 2014. Demonstrations began in April and have grown from a handful of people to thousands of activists at one point. The most recent estimate is about 800. Now, Casper did just post a map of the 1851 decisions and how that was laid out for the tribe, which is called the Treaty of Fort Laramie. And the original pipeline path, which is dotted, and the new one. Now, I look at it this way, and I got some email a couple of days ago about this, and the email said, look, tribes all the time, these Indians, they build, I forget the wording of it, but something like, they build casinos, man, and parking lots, and they're not concerned about sacred lots when they do that, and sacred grounds, and And they're okay with doing that if it's making them money, and and I don't agree with that. Number one, it's their choice to build the casino there. That's the first thing. They can do what they want. It's their land. So whatever. In a situation like this, it's their land, and I think it should be cut and dried, done, end of story. If they don't want it, you can't build it. That's it. That's it. You can't do it. You can't go and pull the fine print clause, right? Well, actually, we can. No. It's their land. They don't want it there. That's it. There is no fine print. There is no federal regulations. There isn't anything else. There isn't anything that says, land right, mineral. No, I don't care. I really don't care. If they don't want it, build around it. And for the same reasons that the other cities that didn't want the pipeline going through there, for the same reasons, drinking water and so forth, the very same reasons, that's it. There's really not an argument here. I had read, somebody sent me something earlier today. Again, I'm trying to get to the bottom line with all of this, with the Dakota pipeline. Somebody sent me something earlier today that said that they have a workaround now, that they're actually not going to do this and they're going to build the pipeline elsewhere. They've got some kind of workaround. I don't know. Again, I can't vet and I can't verify this stuff. It's very, very difficult to get accurate news and reporting about what's going on. But the bottom line is simple. It's an Indian reservation. They have a treaty. It's right there. And that's the Sioux territory, and that's the end of the story. There's nothing really to discuss here. And I had always thought, this is what I thought, that when it came to Indian reservations, when it came to that, there's a line, there's a property line there. On one side, it's not. On the other side, it is. And on the Indian reservation side, it's their government, their police force, their school system. What goes on there is up to them, and it goes all the way back to the ability to build casinos or to do whatever they want there. It's their land, and that's the end of the story. I can't believe that this is being turned around and bent, But again, I'm just trying to get to the bottom line. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Did you ever get a text with it?
You're live.
Oh, wow. Hi, Jimmy. This is Cindy from North Carolina.
Hi, Cindy from North Carolina. How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Corey's sitting over here, but she doesn't want to talk.
That's okay.
Anyway, we're leaving tomorrow, leaving California finally, and I had to call and thank you for making part of our trip just very so memorable.
Oh, thank you, man. And it was just, it was great hanging out with you. I'm glad you had a good time here. So you're just going to drive straight through to North Carolina and that's it?
We're pretty much going to drive straight through.
How long is this on the road?
How long have you been on the road?
Well, the book On the Road, remember? I'm cracking a joke there. How long has this been going on?
I don't know that joke. Sorry. We've been on the road for 3 months together.
Yeah, it's Jack Kerouac, remember? Jack Kerouac, On the Road.
Okay.
I'll
look it up.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Somebody out there got it. I'm sure somebody's
Okay.
right now. Somebody's like, Church has got jokes. Church is funny. Church has got jokes. He just dropped Jack Kerouac. Anyway, so 3 months, 3 months on the road, and what did you learn?
Oh my gosh! It was just how much of a good time that I can have, and how much this country is just beautiful. It's beautiful. We went out to Mount Shasta, up to Crater Lake. I even think we
went to wait a minute. You went to Crater Lake?
Yeah.
Do you know how many dead bodies are at the bottom of Crater Lake?
Well, I didn't see any, but
do you know this?
I don't.
Do you know the story behind that?
Does it have a bottom?
You don't know the story
About
behind Crater?
7,000 feet or something.
You don't know the story, huh?
Well, it's a volcano that collapsed, correct?
People disappear there. Airplanes disappear. B-52 bombers disappear. People just go up to the edge of the lake and vaporize in front of their loved ones. They disappear. You think I'm making this up?
For real?
Yeah, I think I'm just going off of my own memory and research, but I'm gonna throw a number out there.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I'm gonna throw a number out there.
Did not know that.
I'm gonna say 50 people have disappeared in the last 30 years.
Oh, good. I have something else to investigate.
There is a story. I read this story once that this husband and wife, I don't know if it was their child or if it was the wife. Okay, but it doesn't matter. The story's still good. I should have even said that. I should have just made it up and told it. But that this family member was walking towards this wall, right? This cliff wall, walking towards the wall. And as they approached the wall, they disappeared.
Walked to the wall that we were sitting on.
Just walked and disappeared, never to be seen again. Yes. Yes. Now, there's all kinds of, the reports are varied. Could it be like the Bermuda Triangle? Is there some kind of vortex going on? Some kind of crazy weather patterns? Is there some kind of time vortex thing? Are people getting sucked into some kind of Stargate? There's that aspect. Could it be the granite, the rock formation? Is there some kind of electromagnetic thing going on that interferes with planes instrumentation? Is there that? There's a couple of crazy stories. I think there was like 4 B-52 bombers are flying over Crater Lake, flying 4 of them in formation. One,
and they just disappear.
Gone.
Like the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah. Crater Lake. I can't believe you're. See, now if I would have told you that.
Holy crap! Because you know what, we were camping on the west side of that, out in the wilderness by ourselves.
Yeah, it's crazy,
night.
And it's a good thing.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't tell you about this before, because only one of you would have come back.
We had already been there. When we saw you. But
Crater Lake.
A really wild thing that happened up there when we were camping out in the woods, because we got tired of driving, so we pulled over and we set up our tent out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And it's forest out there. There's nothing out there.
So what happened?
So anyway, about 4 o'clock in the morning, something starts screaming.
What?
One animal sounds like it's being freaking eaten alive.
Right.
And I have never heard a sound like this before.
Really?
And it's going off, and all of a sudden I hear my car door close, because Tori had jumped out of her hammock and into the car.
Smart.
I mean, it was horrible sounding. This thing was suffering, and I finally was like, would you put that poor thing out of its misery, because, to kill it. And then, but this is weird, it stopped, the coyote started howling, and then that thing answered it in the same weird fashion that it sounded like it was suffering.
Bigfoot.
But it wasn't.
Bigfoot.
I knew you were going to say, I'm like, and I thought about that about a week afterwards. I'm like, holy crap, because they kept answering each other. They kept calling back and forth to each other.
Why didn't you call me from Crater Lake? You should have called in.
I didn't even realize it until even after we saw you guys. I'm like,
oh, wow. And what about Shasta? Anything cool up there?
It's just absolutely gorgeous. No craziness, but
okay.
Oh, you know what? Those clouds that happen over Mount Shasta and mountains like that. Those weird looking
UFO-looking clouds?
Yeah, the cumulus, those round, whatever they're called.
Yeah, we got to see one of those. That was really freaking cool. So that's kind of, you don't see those too often, and we got to see one. Yeah.
Did you guys, now, on this UFO trip of yours, this paranormal trip, did you go to Giant Rock out in Joshua Tree?
Yeah, of course we did.
Yeah,
we were right there at the Integratron, however you pronounce that.
Yeah. How cool.
Yeah. That's very cool. Have you been out there?
No. Well, I've driven past it, but we haven't stopped yet. We're going to do the Integratron this year. We're gonna go out and do that. But
have you been to Giant Rock?
Nope, driven past it.
Oh. There's nothing out there but that big giant rock and the part that's broken off, and then it looks like a big cement slab that where he used to live under there.
Right.
But it's all closed off.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of definitely got an energy to it, for sure. It's like,
well,
and it almost looks like from one side like a planet, the rock formation.
Well, I believe that is the largest freestanding rock in the world.
Oh, yeah, it looks to be 4 or 5 stories tall.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
Very huge.
Did you guys go to Area 51?
No, we didn't do that.
You didn't do that?
Area 51. No, what for? You can't get close to it.
No, but you can get arrested. That's the best part. Right?
Oh, boy. Yay.
Hey, Cindy, you two have a safe drive back, and give us a call from the road, okay?
Okay, will do.
Okay.
Love you guys. Love all you faders.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Go
we'll
ahead.
Be chatting soon.
You got it.
We'll be chatting soon. Okay.
Just
bye-bye.
Be safe.
Thanks.
On the road, the UFO road trip. I mean, how cool is that? Seriously, for real, for shizzle. All right. A NASA advisory panel has reportedly sounded the alarm over SpaceX's unique and contrarian fueling process, which involves people on board. Now, listen to this. With the recent Falcon 9 launch pad explosion, and we've all seen the video and the object that goes in and shoots in and out and looks like it caused the explosion. It looked like it was involved for sure. NASA is concerned. And SpaceX, not only with their refueling on rockets that don't have people on it, but people that do, and I'm talking about shooting them into space, but then when they have the refueling process, they have people on board while they are refueling. Crazy, isn't it? Well, they're saying now that all SpaceX orbit missions would risk lives. So, this past Monday, the Space Agency's Advisory Committee issued yet another warning to SpaceX, Elon Musk, and they want him to consider that they change things. But Elon says no. They are not changing anything in their fueling procedures, even after that September incident. In late October, the company said that the Falcon 9 pad explosion was most likely caused by a helium loading issue. The superfast explosion, which happened quickly, it was just 93 milliseconds while the spacecraft was being prepared, made Musk and the president of his company, Gwynne Shotwell, suspect the fueling process. But they're not going to change. SpaceX allegedly indicated last year that it would like to stick to its fueling Falcon 9 rocket while crews are aboard, even when it conducts commercial crew launches. Very interesting. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Good evening, Jimmy. That is crazy. Wouldn't want to be on board while they were filling up there. But the question tonight, ask that question again about the media.
Have you been affected by the conspiracy of mass media and its influence on our country?
I would have to say yes, and this is why. Back in the day when I started, before there was the internet, I used to sit down every day, whether it was after school or after work, and I became an aficionado of the CBS News. I mean, I thought Walter Cronkite was the bomb. I mean, I trusted that man. and the way that he would react a little bit outside the news as they expanded the news. Then Dan Rather came along, and I respected him because in Vietnam he went on the fire line and he would try to go behind the story. And, so on for about 10 or 15 years, my eyes were not open, and I just would watch what that CBS Evening News told me, and I would take it as gospel. But even the local news, up until maybe 10 years ago, we had a couple of personalities that seemed like very real people. I remember I had an issue with a nuclear power plant in California that we were protesting, and I got mad one night and I called up and said, would you tell the anchor that, he's just a shill for Westinghouse and PG&E because they own Diablo Canyon and that's why they want it built, And the guy actually called me back an hour after the news broke. He goes, hello? And so I had some respect for some of even the local anchors. But in the last 10 years, I began to see that less and less of the news was, real reporting and what's behind it. And it was more, if it bleeds, it leads type of coverage, And I got sick of watching it. It's this crash and that shot. And, I'm sick of the politics. But one thing that the media has seemed to make worse is all this stuff, and you've talked about this, I agree with you 100%, saying that, the different races can't get along and, Black Lives Matter. And you see all this stuff and you figure, God, I'm hated because I'm white and because of my issues. And then I go to work the next morning and I work with Asian people and black people and Hispanic people, and we get along fine. So the media, when I learned, and, I read Brad Olson's most recent book, Future Esoteric, which we know a lot of these things, but he kind of digests it all. When you find that American media is owned by about 6 entities, how can you have a fourth estate? How can you have an open press that constantly dogs our government to keep them honest? You can't. So, yeah, I was affected, but I finally my eyes opened a few years ago, and thank goodness that there at least are some true, deep stories on the Internet.
Yeah, and always remember now that, we only have Reuters, right? And that's it. And Reuters owns the only other newswire underneath that. So therefore, everything that is fed via Washington through Reuters out to the rest of the media comes from one point source. And most people don't realize that. And if you go and you try to find the history of Reuters and who owns and how that is run, well, that's run and owned by the Rothschilds now. And it's owned through the most complicated set of companies and banks that you've never even heard of. You go and you read and you're like, what? And you just try to figure this mess out and you can't. But that bottom line, that the progenitor, the very the point source, the ground zero of all of this comes from the Rothschilds, and that in turn is controlled Reuters by them, and that's who feeds everything else. That is it. There is nothing else there. And that it's the same sources that go over to the BBC and Sky News and RT, right? And IB Times.
And that's why we're no different now. I hate to say it. I love my country, but we're no different than under the communist rule of the Soviet Union, where they had one media. Yes, here is the news, comrades.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go quite that far. I'm not going to go quite there. I'm not going to go quite there. I mean, certainly the one thing that when it comes to being objective with the news, that all at least CNN and whoever, right? I keep saying CNN and Fox and MSNBC and whatever, but at least they have the option not. I mean, they have the option not to. With TASS and the original USSR, which you're referring to, they didn't have a choice, right?
No.
So,
and we have democracy now, which they try to put a slant, but it's obviously a little bit more less progressive. And you can watch Fox, which I can't. It makes me sick, but that is definitely skewed to the right. But at least they try to go around the party lines straight down the center, which is just not news.
Yeah,
that's why we have Jon Rappoport. It's fake news.
Well, I used to. I have. It's packed away, but I have Bill O'Reilly's first book that he wrote, his little autobiography. I have it, and I read that, and I put that down, and I went, he's the most misunderstood dude in the country. This guy is cool. This guy is on pitch, and I had a different view. Today, I get physically ill when I see his face. I get physically ill, but people can change. I change. I'm telling you, I read his book and I put it down. And I went, this is a guy that has got emotions. He's cool. He's a human being, and he's completely misunderstood. And boy, was I wrong. So there you go. All right. Hey, listen, Dino, we're at the end of the show. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right. Let's all survive. We don't have to leave the country. We can continue to change it increment by increment.
Exactly. It's going to be a crazy 4 years, but a few days after the election, I'm hoping that the smoke is going to clear a little bit and we'll get back to our sense and sensibilities. But
I have other issues to worry about. Good night.
I'll talk to you. Thank you, Dino. Hey, Les, what's up, my brother?
Oh, good. I'm great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You sound tired.
Yeah, a little bit. But you know what? It's the end of the week. It was a great week, by the way. Congratulations on the show on Monday. You did great.
Who was on Monday?
You did
the Omen House.
The house.
Man, they're all running together. That was a really good time. You know who was really cool? Everybody. Mary and Mosef, our comedian friends, were just awesome. My niece and nephew were on the show, but Chris Medina was obviously, I think that he was a little bit too connected to the spirits there. He looked a little distant, and it's a disturbing house. But Chris was great. But was Rick Mora from Twilight, the actor. Man, he was great. And I've got to get him on the show. I've got to get him on Fade to Black. But that guy was really cool. And so anyway, yeah, it was a fun time. Halloween night there. Amazing night.
Shaw wasn't half bad either the Thursday before.
Shaw was amazing. The ratings on that show were through the roof, man. And love Shaw. It was too cool. And, we had our little audio issue with the phones, which has since been fixed. And we've got another phone line that's been run into here. And we have other stuff going on. But that being said...
But it worked out great.
I like the format, and I think we're going to do that next year. I really do. I think we're going to do it that way. We're going to do email and Twitter and text, and we're going to do it like that. And I had fun doing it that way. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
So really quick, you've got 15 seconds. Have you been affected by the media, the corruption?
I think we all have at one time or another, but I think, as Steve said, your listeners are way too smart. Our friends are way too smart to be caught by that, to be caught by the mainstream media anymore.
Yeah, I'm doing my job.
Yes, you are.
Take us out of here, Les.
Yes, sir. Special thanks to Jon Rappoport and all the first-time callers and Fadernauts who phoned home tonight. Fade to Black executive producer is Rita Camarion. Special thanks to LJ3, that's me, Renee Jonas Mark. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Brother Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Bateau, and Mark D. Kovar. Fadey by Dale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA The Planet. And with that, for the week, Jimmy and I are out of here.
Thank you so much, Les. Be safe and be well. We'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, see you Monday. Good night.
This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. Cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I want to thank everybody that called in tonight. We've got a crazy week in front of us next week, everybody. I want you to be safe this weekend. Have fun. We'll see you on Monday. We've got some special election coverage. It's going to be cool. Be safe. Go Backley Tappy.